Hey everyone, it's Chaz. I'm still holding the microphone. I actually bought a mic stand. It's in that box right there. I should probably set it up at some point. Anyway, we're back with another video on Excel. This time we're going to work on the sum function, so let's get to it. So before I get to the exercises on the Excel Online website, I'm just going to go over the sum function using a couple of examples here. So I have a bunch of ones, 10 rows of ones, 4 columns. I'm just going to demonstrate the sum function for you. It's just going to be the equal sign, the word sum, open parentheses, and then you just choose what you want a sum of. I can do that by, for example, clicking and dragging across all the cells that I want the sum of. And then if you want, you can close the parentheses, but it is not required. When I press enter, yeah, there are 10 of them. Makes sense? If I wanted to find the sum of a region of values rather than just one column or one row, I can do that too. Let's go equals sum, and I can click and drag across a whole bunch of stuff. And if I hit enter here, yeah, 40. That works. I can even find sums of values that aren't even next to each other. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go equals sum, and I'm just going to click on this one, but I don't want to find the sum of this one and something right next to it. I want to find the sum of this one and maybe a couple other random ones. So to do that, I'm just going to type a comma. And then click another one, comma, maybe this one, and how about one more? So there should be 4 altogether. And yeah, I get 4. And if you wanted to, you could even combine all of those. So both using the comma and regions of cells. So that looks like this, equals sum, parentheses, and maybe I'll do this row, comma, this row, comma, this region here. So let's see, I got 4 and 4. That's 8 plus 6 more here. I should get 14, and I do. All right, now I want to show you one more pretty useful keyboard shortcut. Let's say I have a really long list of values that I need the sum of. So here, for example, I've got a list of 1,000 ones. I know it says row 1001 here, but there actually are 1,000 of them. It's just that I have a heading in row 1. And by the way, if you're not sure how I did this, where I got row 1 to show up on the top of the screen no matter where I scroll, let me show you how I did that real quick. So here at the top, with this row selected, I'm going to go right here to View, and you see right here it says Freeze Panes. I've already done it, so let me just undo it real quick, Unfreeze Panes. And the 2 ways to do this is I can either click on this cell and just choose Freeze Panes, and it will freeze right where my selection is. Otherwise, there is a preset here where you can just freeze the top row. So that one will work no matter what's selected. So I'm just going to click freeze top row. You'll see a line up here. And now when I scroll, the top row just stays. So it's pretty convenient when you have headings on a really large table and you want to be able to always see those headings. But anyway, I'm back at the bottom of my table and I want to find the sum of all these values. So I'm going to go equals sum, and I'm not going to select all these cells. Come on now. So how about I just select one of them, and I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut. It's going to be hold Control, hold Shift, and press up. That will send your cursor and your selection all the way up until there are no more cells with values in them. So if that's kind of weird, let me just show you what I mean by that real quick. So I have some cells here. I've got the letters A through K, and right above that I have the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I use that keyboard shortcut I was just talking about, Control Shift Up, notice that it stops at the letter A. It's because the cell right above it is blank. Now if I were to put something here, like say the number 10, and now I do that shortcut, Control Shift Up, now it goes all the way up. It just goes until it sees a blank cell, and that's where it stops. And you can do the same thing in the other direction. Control Shift and the down arrow will reach all the way down. And then let's say I remove this. And then I use my shortcut, Control Shift down. Where do you think it's going to stop? Stops at the 9. So anyway, back over here. Now that I've explained that, let's go equals sum. And I'm going to click this cell. And I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut, Control Shift up. And if you notice, it actually selected everything in this column, including the heading. And that's perfectly fine because the sum function knows to ignore cells that don't contain numbers. So it's not going to try to add the word ones with an exclamation point. it'll only add the numbers. But if you weren't sure, if you really wanted to, there's another keyboard shortcut you can use. It's not Control-Shift and down, but just Shift and down without the Control key, and that will get rid of the selection of the first row. So what I'm doing, I'm just holding Shift, and I'm pressing up and down. You see what happens? I'm pressing down, pressing up, and it just adds and removes cells to my selection. But anyway, I have all my ones selected, and when I press enter, my sum is in fact 1,000. All right, so I'm back here on excelpracticeonline.com, link in the description, and we're going to work on the sum function exercises. I see 3 of them here, so might as well just start with exercise 1. So at the very top, it says the following table includes ABC companies' revenues by month. Okay, I do see that here. The company's CFO asks you to use a sum formula to calculate the total revenue for the year. Okay, let's just use a sum. Come down here, equals, sum, parentheses, and I guess we can just take the mouse and click and drag, select every cell that we need for our sum. You can close the parentheses if you want, but if you don't, you'll still get the answer. And there it is. All right, on to exercise 2. So this time it says the following table represents daily costs by day for the first quarter of 2015. Okay, fair enough. Calculate the total costs at the bottom of the table. And it says to use sum shortcuts. Well, we know how to do that. So scroll down, and yeah, it is a pretty long list. You wouldn't want to have to click and drag. So let's come down here, go equals sum, and I want every value here. So let's click on this one, and instead of dragging and trying to scroll all the way up there, let's use our shortcut, Control, Shift, and the up arrow. And notice that it also took the heading of this column, costs. Since it's a word and not a number, it's not going to affect our answer. But if you really wanted to get rid of it, instead of the shortcut Control, Shift, and the down arrow, just press Shift with the down arrow, Shift by itself, and you can see I can do individual cells when I go up and down with the up and down arrows. So I'll just stop right there and press Enter, and there's my answer. And now exercise 3. All right, so this time I see a very large table with a bunch of region numbers and number of residents by age group, 3 different age groups. So let's see what the questions ask. Find the number of residents for each of the following groups. Number of residents for 0 to 19, that would be this age group here, all these numbers all the way to the bottom of the table. So we can do that. Go equals, sum, and let's see, it's going to be from here all the way to the bottom of the table. Let's use that shortcut, Control, Shift, and the down arrow. So there's everything selected. I can close the parentheses if I want, and when I press Enter, wait, what? Why is it dollars? It says number of residents, right? Yeah. Okay, there appears to be a mistake on this website. It's formatting this cell as dollars and cents for some reason, when it really should just be the number of residents. But we actually can fix this. So I'm going to go back into my formula. If I want to edit a cell that already contains text, and I don't really have a way of double clicking because this cell, this website's kind of weird, you can use the shortcut F2. That's the series of function keys at the top of a computer keyboard. And so I'm going with F2. And now that'll let me edit this cell. And what I'm going to do is take this function and I'm going to enclose it within another function. I wasn't planning on going over this function, but here we are. It's going to be the text function. So the text function just takes a value and formats it in whatever format of text that you want. So just to show you an example, I'm going to put a value here, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And then right over here, make it a little bigger. Let me do it over here, actually. I'm going to go equals text, and the text function takes 2 arguments. So first I need the value. You can just type a value in here if you want, but I'm going to use this cell and just take that value from it. And then a comma, and then it wants to format text. For example, if I go quotation marks and just a 0, that tells it to format this string of numbers as a number. So, okay, that's fine. So you notice that it moved it over. It's because it's technically considered text right now, but it's formatted as a number. Now, this one didn't really seem to do much, but let me show you something else that this formula can do. So how about instead of just a 0, I go 0, comma, 0. Let me see what happens here. So this time you see it formats the number, but with comma separators. So you can see now much easier that it's 1,234,000,000, etc. If I were to then go over here and put a dot and then another 0, now it formats it with a decimal place at the end. I can even do another decimal place and then even stick a $sign in the front of that. And now it's formatted as money. Of course, there's a much easier way to format a cell as currency, but this is one way to do it manually. Something else I can do, come over here and I can go 000-000-0000, and all of a sudden my cell is formatted as a phone number. So there are a few different things you can do with the text function. What I'm going to do here is go text, and the value is just going to be the sum that I just calculated. And the format text, I'm just going to go format it as a number. There it is. If I really wanted to, if I wanted to be fancy, I can go 0, comma 0. And now I have the comma in there as well. All right, now I need the sum of the residents in the 25 to 49 column, this one right here. And is this cell going to be formatted weird too? Yeah, it's dollars. What about this one? Oh my goodness. This one too? Okay, so that one's fine. So it's just these two over here. All right, so come back up and go equals sum. And I mean, technically, these are the only numbers in column E, right? So technically, I can just select the entire column, right? And then, oh yeah, it's going to be formatted wrong. So I still have to, I guess, wrap this function inside of the text function. Text. The value is just the formula that I was supposed to just type on its own, comma, and then the format is going to be a number with comma. Close the parentheses, and there's my answer. I'm sorry if this is confusing. It's just that this website formatted these cells in a weird way, and I don't have any way of editing it other than using a second function to force my answers to be numbers instead of currency, because I feel like it would be even more confusing if these answers were currency. But anyway, the last one, 50 to 75, let's go equals sum, and it's going to be this column here. Let's do it the normal way again. Click this cell, shortcut, Control-Shift, and the down arrow. That makes it all the way to the bottom. Come back up so I could see my formula and close my parentheses. And, oh, right. I forgot about that. So let's wrap the text function around it. That's the value. Format text is a number containing commas. Close parentheses. And, okay, there we go. All right, now question 2. What is the total number of residents in region 3 for all group ages? So here's region 3, and we want all of the group ages. So that would just be these 3 right here. So let's go equals sum, and region 3. I guess technically these are the only numbers in this row, so I could just select the entire row. So let's just do row 27. So 27, colon 27, and when I press enter, that's the answer. Moving on, what is the total number of users in regions 1 through 20 for all age groups? So we want regions 1 through 20, all of these, but for all of the age groups. So it's going to be these. So it's the sum of all of these values. All right, we could do that. So equals sum, and we'll start here, and this time I'm not going to use Control and Shift with the arrows. I'm just going to hold Shift by itself and select all the cells manually. So I'm holding Shift. I'm just going to move down, down, down to region 20. What happened to my screen? There we go. And then I just got to move over with the right arrow, and yeah, that's everything. So we should be good. Scroll up a little bit. Yep, there's my answer. All right, last question. Total number of residents of ages 0 to 19 and 50 to 75. So this column and this column. And they want it done in 2 different ways. All right, that's fine. Let's go equals sum. And first, let's use that comma method. So I'm going to take this cell, use the shortcut, Control-Shift, and the down arrow. I'm going to scroll my way back up. So that's one region. Let's press comma and choose the next region. So that's here. Control-Shift down. Come back to the top. And when I close the parentheses and press enter, yep, that's my answer. All right, so let's do it another way. How about this time, instead of just using one sum formula with a comma separating the 2 regions, let's do 2 sum formulas. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go equals sum, and it's going to be this one here. Control-Shift down. Then I'm going to scroll back up. And I'm going to close the parentheses, and I'm going to go plus, and I'm going to do another sum formula. I don't have to press equals again because it's all one formula. So just sum, and now here, Control-Shift down. I come back to the top, and I'm just going to close the parentheses and enter. Same answer. You know what? Let's do it a third way. I'm going to do it kind of the math teacher way. So I'm going to come over here. Now, if I need just these 2 columns, I can just add up all 3 of these columns and then remove the middle column. So let me see what that looks like. Let's go equals sum. And this time I'm going to select everything. So I'm going to come here to this cell. I'm going to go Control-Shift and the right arrow. That selects everything in that row. And then Control-Shift down to get all the rows all the way down. Come back up here. And I'll close the parentheses, and I'm going to go minus sum. I don't have to press equals because it's all one formula. And now come right here and Control-Shift down. And when I do that, yeah, same answer. They wanted 2 methods, and we gave them 3. So yeah, that's it for this video about the sum function and apparently also the text function and a couple useful keyboard shortcuts. I'm Chaz Winter. Thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel and been watching the videos. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.